G'day and welcome to the Hunting Connection podcast. My name is Zach Williams and I am your host. Here we'll connect you with hunters, fishers and outdoor enthusiasts from around the globe. This podcast will share hunting and fishing stories including past experiences and tackle the tough hunting stereotypes our community faces. We hope to be a positive influence to those outside the community while also having a laugh along the way. Hope you enjoy the podcast. G'day and welcome to another episode of Hunting Connection podcast. On this episode, I am joined by Chance Wadsworth from Quillcreek. That's a mouthful. Quillcreek, how you going?
Hey, how's it going, Zach?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Fantastic. Early morning. It's crazy how much of a difference it is for you and I. You're in the afternoon and I'm in the early morning.
Yeah, well, not just the afternoon. It's 9:15 here, and it's 4 a.m. your side or 4:30ish.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always the hardest part about organising podcasts with everyone on your side of the equator. It's just that 16, 17 hour time difference is such a killer.
Yeah, but I'm used to it. It's waterfowl hunter, you get up early like this all the time, so it ain't no big deal.
No, that's awesome. Is it currently waterfowl season where you are at the moment?
Not in my state of Wisconsin, but south. There's season goes till like February 10th or 11th or something like that. I think the federal government limits us to like February 14th or something. There's a strict hardcore day that the federal government allows each state to pick their season. So season will go on here for another 2-3 weeks down south in some of the other states, and then it'll be done. It'll be wrapped up.
Yeah, beautiful. When does your waterfowl season kick off over there for you in Wisconsin?
September 1st. That's when we have our early season goose, and then it'll in the north zone. So our state is split into 3 zones. We have north, south zone, and then we have the Mississippi zone that runs along the Mississippi. And I live actually perfectly where I can hunt all 3 of them. Like I drive not even an hour. Highway 10 right here that I live on the divide line for north and south zone, so I get to hunt best of both worlds. But the southern zone hunting where I'm currently at it's not the greatest. I mean, it's good, but it's not the best. But so it'll be 2 weeks September 1st in north zone, and then rolls right into regular season 2 weeks after that, and then duck opener is like end of September, October. I don't duck hunt a whole lot here just because I'm going after the geese all the time. If I go duck hunt, I'll go out to like North Dakota or something.
That's awesome. What species of geese are you chasing over there?
Canada's.
Cool. They're awesome. I haven't hunted them yet, but I got to see them while I was in New Zealand, and over in NZ, it's a completely different ball game for them. There's, as far as I know, there's no seasons tags for them, and you can shoot them with rifles.
That's wild. Yeah, here it's like 3 birds a person. You have to shoot them with shotguns. Only 3 shells. It's pretty incredible how New Zealand, for their Canadas, don't have a season or anything like that. But, I've heard, they can be very detrimental to land and stuff, especially like if over there they're raising cattle and stuff like that. The geese if they get to a high enough number, they'll do some damage on that grass and whatever crop you got over there.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, it's one of those things they're introduced over there, like everything in New Zealand pretty much is that you hunt apart from the native duck species. And yeah, everything's just in high numbers down there. It's a hunter's paradise.
That's pretty slick. I do want to, that's one of my bucket list places to go is there.
Well, do it. I've got a few mates that are mad keen waterfowl hunters, and they'll get you on them. We don't have too much on the geese side of things here in Australia. We've got magpie geese. If you've ever seen them, they're up in the Northern Territory. They're a pretty cool bird. They're the only native animal that you can legally bow hunt for in Australia. So that's pretty cool as well.
I'll have to take a look at those. I've never heard of magpie goose. Okay.
Pretty trippy looking things, but yeah, that'd be cool to hunt. And that's like you're hunting them in the swamps up in the NT where all the crocodiles are, the pigs, the buffalo, all of that type of stuff. So
I'm gonna pass. You said crocodile. I forgot all about that. You live in Australia, like that's where like almost everything can kill you.
You'd be surprised, man. America is so much more dangerous with their land mammals than here in Australia. We've got a couple of snakes and a couple of spiders that can kill you. If you go in the ocean, you got sharks. But you've got way more dangerous land critters than we do.
Yeah, I suppose I guess I'm just going off of like the documentaries I watched as a kid, like showing how like life goes, and Australia always had like, what is it, the black taipan, and then you got what is it,
the taipan, the eastern taipan, and the brown snakes and stuff like that, inland taipan.
Yeah. And then the Sydney funnel web spider, it's like one of the most poisonous, and then sharks, crocs. See what we have. I wonder if we got crocs down on the coastline, or I don't think we do.
Florida, there's an American crocodile that's down in Florida.
Oh, okay, all right. That was where my guess was. I know. I mean, we got gators,
and I think there's also Nile crocodiles in introduced portions down in Florida as well.
Why would you want to introduce a Nile crocodile? Why? What benefit would that bring?
Florida, man. Florida.
What? Oh my gosh. Because, dude, I mean, those things, crocs get way bigger than alligators, don't they? They're like...
Yeah, they get decent size. So we don't have them down here. We're too cold. Our winters are too cold for them. So they're mainly up the... if you think of America... because Australia is a very similar size to America land-wise. So where the crocs are for us is up kind of near where you are in America. See, we're down the bottom in the cooler part, which is your warmer part. Like I'm equivalent. Almost down would be. Just trying to think. Texas and. That area is kind of where I am. So it's way too cold down there for crocs. But our summers, we're looking at, we've just had a couple weeks at, 113, 114 degrees Fahrenheit.
Jeepers. That's...
So it gets toasty in summer, but our winters are too cold to sustain croc life.
Yeah, that's... 113, man. I mean, we get that down. I think we get that down in Texas and stuff like that, but not for, I don't think for 2 weeks straight. I think there'll be a couple days where it's hot like that. I think they average around like 90, 95, somewhere around there. But yeah, that's crazy.
It's a different ball game. Well, let's get to know you a bit more. How did you get into hunting? Did you grow up hunting? Are you from a hunting family?
Yeah, I was fortunate. My dad, ever since I can remember, I mean, I got my mom and dad got pictures of me, being in my dad's trapping basket. When he'd go set traps, I'd be like 4 years old, and my dad had a big old trapping basket on his back, and I'd be sitting in it and stuff like that. So for as long as I can remember, my dad's always hunted and fished and trapped and stuff like that. So I got to be raised in it, and I just always was hunting turkeys, deer, waterfowl, fishing, trapping, stuff like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So did you grow up mainly rifle hunting or bow hunting or a bit of everything? Just following the seasons?
Both. Yeah, following the seasons. So like, I think I got my first bow when I was like I don't know, like at 11, 12, maybe 13. And before that, I think he had a crossbow for me. Because I do remember hunting one time or a few times and having a crossbow. But then I got my first compound bow when I was about 11, 12, something like that. And then, in Ohio at that time, you weren't allowed to rifle hunt or you weren't allowed to deer hunt with a rifle because probably it's where I was really flat. So, I mean, bullets can travel real far. So, I mean, I get that. But, the first deer I ever shot was with a 20 gauge shotgun, slugs. So, and then in the spring it was turkey season. So bird shot and all that. And every once in a while, Dad would go out goose and duck hunting with me, and a couple of his buddies. And I would be there and watch them shoot birds and stuff. Like that was when I was like 8 or 9 and I just sat and watched. They didn't give me a gun or anything.
That's awesome. So it seems like your main passion is waterfowl and goose hunting. You still get out and deer hunt, or are you just all your energies into waterfowl?
Yeah, pretty much all my energy's into waterfowl, but like I was telling you earlier, I quit my job, so I'll be doing this full time. And, I'm getting my wife and my mom is a giant health food nut. And I've kind of started to roll around and see her point of view and see the things that's going on in our country. So I really want to, shoot a few deer and fill the freezer and stuff like that. And start deer hunting a little bit more, but I want to try to make my own recurve bow. And we have some public land, and I just think that would be, I like doing things as hard as possible. I know we have these amazing compound bows and Garmin sights that can auto range find and stuff like that. It makes things super slick and easy. And that's awesome. Like, I will give credit where credit's due. That's freaking slick. And we got these amazing guns, but like, I also like a challenge. And so like, I want to build my own recurve bow and arrows and then make the tip and all that stuff. And then go around on state property and maybe sit on the ground and something and just wait, like how it used to be back in the day, and try to get one that way. Doe. I probably, over here, I don't know how it is where you guys are in Australia, but over here, there's a very big, like trophy management kind of going on, because all of our stuff is, not all of it, but most of it is free ranged. And there's a lot of guys that want to shoot big bucks, and I totally love it. I love the aspect of it, because you're disciplining yourself to pass on a smaller deer to get the bigger, older deer. And I just love the thought of discipline. But I also do see the guy that just wants to shoot meat and fill his tags and feed his family. Like, if he wants to, he's spending all this money to buy the gear, buy the tree stands, buy the land. If he wants to fill his freezer, let him fill his freezer. Like, but I also do see the benefit of holding off and waiting for that big trophy buck, because that's earned. That's like you had to, you got to pass on a 160 to shoot a 170. You got to pass on a 170 to shoot a 180. So it's just like, I get both sides. So I'll probably not shoot a small buck. But I will stack the does up.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, our game management here is a bit different. There's guys that try and manage for trophies, but here, like I said earlier to you before we were recording, everything here that we hunt, apart from magpie geese and ducks, are introduced species. So we've got 6 different deer species, so they're all classed as feral introduced species. So there's really hog deer in Victoria being not being like categorized like this, and fallow deer in Tasmania. Everything else is 24/7, 365. You can go on private property at night and shoot as many deer as you want with a spotlight. There's no seasons, no tags. If you've got area that's public land, realistically, if you wanted to, you can shoot every single deer you see and just leave it, due to them being an introduced species.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, we don't. and see, we just passed it. Well, I don't know if this was 110% truth because I heard it from a story from someone, but North Dakota is what he said, passed a law where pigeons in my state, you can shoot them, but they put them on a list of like songbirds so that like they're non-disruptive species or whatever. So you can't hunt them in North Dakota. Now, granted, I heard this from someone. I didn't read this in state law or legislation. So I don't know if that's 100% truth, but that's kind of crazy that, I mean, we have stuff like that, but not for deer. Deer are very exciting.
So we have deer, pigs, feral goats, foxes, rabbits, hares, cats, wild dogs, camels, buffalo, donkeys, wild horse, everything that is pretty much categorized like that. There's no seasons, no tags. If you've got access to it through private property, it's yours to take.
Horses?
Yep.
People shoot horses?
Yep.
Oh, I don't know about
that. Yeah, it freaks a lot of Americans out. There's you've probably seen the photo, but there's one photo that gets around at the start of every deer season in America, and it's a dude with a compound bow posing next to a horse, saying, you know, my blind friend just had his first successful doe harvest. That's actually an Australian bow hunter.
Oh my gosh, dude, that I've seen that photo. It is so funny. Oh my gosh. And then the comments were, someone made an edit to it. It was like, is someone going to let him know? Is someone going to tell him?
Yeah, so those photos that you see floating around the internet, they're all from Australia. So if you see someone with most of the time with a feral cat holding it up with a bow or a rifle, a wild dog, all of that, that's all from Australia, because it's all game that we can chase down here.
Interesting. Now, do you guys eat cat, horse, and dog?
Don't eat the cats or the dogs, no. That's just controlling introduced predators, so it's similar to what you guys would do with raccoons and stuff like that, because, you know, raccoons, as far as I know, aren't very... not many people eat them. You do hear the odd story, but... the horses, people do eat them, but we've just got such a big number of these introduced species all around Australia that a lot of it's just pest management. They get shot and left. So,
really, man, because I don't know really what to believe anymore. Because I remember when snakehead in Florida came and was here, and oh my gosh, like 10, 15 years ago, like it was the rave, like, oh man, like these things are gonna take over our whole, and then like the flying Asian carp too, like those got introduced. And I guess does things change the ecosystem when you introduce it like that?
Yes.
Over there for you?
Yes,
okay.
Definitely. And it does happen in the States as well with introduced species. But a lot of the time when there's money behind it, like you do with snakehead in Florida, there's a trophy fishing aspect to it. So the trophy fishers like to, target it as a trophy fish rather than just an introduced species where you get the bow fishermen down there and they go hammer and tong on them.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
But yeah, it's a crazy system down here. But like I said, we do have deer management on Tasmania for the fallow deer. what you see behind me, but on mainland Australia, they're all pretty much free to shoot whenever you like. Our rut for them is March and April, so opposite to your season. Your deer are shed by then and starting to regrow. We're just getting out of hard velvet about mid-February, start of March.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Pretty crazy how it's rotated. But I feel like, being on, I think it's because we're on different sides of the equator, right?
It is. But yeah, it's the same with New Zealand as well, and being in that equator. But we also have Samba deer, if you've ever heard of them, rooster deer, and axis, but we call them chiddle. You guys call them axis up in the northern hemisphere. But yeah, we got 6 species of deer down here in Australia. So we're pretty blessed and lucky on that side of thing.
Heck yeah. Yeah, you guys got all kinds of stuff to go after.
We do. There's the Australian Deer Slam, and then there's the Australian Slam, which is, I think it's 27 or 28 species for the Aussie Slam. And then you've got the what is it? It's basically the Australian New Zealand Slam. So it includes their deer species that they have, tahr, chamois, and all the other species they have.
Okay. Do you guys eat a lot of that stuff, or are they not very good?
Oh, I eat all the deer I shoot. Not one that I shoot doesn't go in the freezer unless we're specifically on a property at night, spotlighting and doing just pest management. The farmer's gone, there's too many deer, you guys need to drop numbers now, or we're getting professional colours on. So we'll go at night with a spotlight and the rifles and drop numbers.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a hard thing because we all, in South Australia as well, I told you that bow hunting's been banned. We also have a huge push for helicopter culling from our government. So they're going around to national parks and places we can't hunt, and they're shooting deer out of helicopters under thermals with shotguns and letting them rot. And then they're also they're flying over properties and going, hey, you've got too many deer on your property. If you don't do something about it, soon, if we go over again and you still have those types of numbers on, we're going to start fining you for each deer you have on your property, or you can let us on and we'll shoot them all for you.
Well, that makes no sense. They took the privilege away from you guys, and then now they're doing it in the government, which I'm sure the people that would be doing that are probably hunters like yourself, but that just, oh goodness, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't, man. It's just one of those things that is pretty common here in Australia, but when you're chatting to someone from America, it's very hard for them to comprehend on how our management works compared to over there.
Well, I've heard rumors about when you get into a big city, because that's a real big deal. Like, you have big highways going 70 mile an hour, down through the cities, and there's a lot of state park the cities have, and city parks to have for everybody that's in the city to go, be in nature and not drive an hour, 2 hours outside of the city. And there's a lot of deer, there's a lot of turkeys. And so I've heard rumors that the DNR will come into these state at night with suppressors and thermals, and they'll shoot and kill deer and turkeys and stuff like that. Maybe not turkeys, but definitely deer. Because if you hit a deer going 70 miles an hour, that could kill you. And I've heard rumors. Like I said, I don't know if it's true. I've never seen it, but our type of government that handles all that will go in at night and use thermals and suppressors and shoot them. And it's like, well, why don't you just have a bow season for anybody that have it as a lottery? You got let them take a test and shoot and give designated areas. And then that's another way that people can get out. But I don't know. I'm just a kid from Wisconsin. I don't know anything.
No, man, I get it. We've argued the same. We just don't have the same hunter density as you guys do over there, so we don't get much of a say when you've got the inner city people. Like, a way for Americans to comprehend. So we're the same land masses as the lower 48, but we have a population less than California, spread out across Australia. So the state that I'm in, South Australia, we've got a population, I think it's 1.3 million, and our state's bigger than Texas.
Oh, wow. That's pretty incredible. And is it true that like most of the cities, most of the population is like on the outskirt?
Yeah,
not inland.
It's all along the coastlines pretty much. That's where all our major cities are. So, you might have 900,000, 800,000 of that population in my state that live in the major city. And then you've got the rest in farmlands. Like, we've got a huge range of different landscapes. So, like, we've got real deserty, sandy areas. Then we've got, like, rivers and marshes, coastline beaches. But it's a very arid state for the most part.
Gotcha.
So we're kind of, our atmosphere here is kind of like Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, that type of landscape for the most part.
Okay. You guys got turkeys?
Yes and no. So there is small populations of introduced turkeys. I have had the privilege of hunting some back in the day, but there's only very, very small populations of them kicking around.
If you ever come in the spring, so April, May, here, and you want to hunt turkeys, oh, dude, do they gobble where you're at?
Yes and no, because they were farm turkeys that they kind of look very similar to your guys' Merriam's, but they're that farm genetic. They have a hell of a time surviving here because of cats and foxes and eagles and other birds of prey, so they do not get established very easy.
Okay. Because, I just had a quick thought about that. I was like, oh, we've talked about waterfowl, we've talked about deer. I was like, what about turkeys? They got turkeys. Dude, it's like one of my favorite things to hunt.
You want to shoot turkeys? Go down to New Zealand. So there's guys down there that do culling programs for turkeys, and it's not uncommon for them to shoot 600-700 turkeys in a few days.
What? I feel like that's cheating. The one thing I wish people could experience at least just once in their lifetime is sitting in the woods. It's got to be in the woods. And you're in a little ravine. And on the other side of the ravine, it's like 120 yards. And a big old Tom is coming or walking along and lets off a gobble because, dude, it will rattle your chest. And especially early morning when it's cool, probably 40 degrees outside, and he lets off like a gobble, man. Oh my gosh. And especially if you don't know he's there, because it literally rattles your chest. It's one of the greatest feelings I think I've ever experienced. It's awesome.
We got to get you down here and experience either a red stag roar in a gully that you don't know is there, or a fallow deer croaking in a gully that you don't know is there. So the fallow deer, like up behind me, they make like a croaking noise during their rut. So they're like, I'll do a very bad example for you, but and that's how they signal. Where the red deer, they sound almost in between a lion and a cow roaring. So
interesting.
And then you've got the sambar deer. So the hinds, they will honk at you. So they make like a bonk, like, but it goes through your bones when it does it. Like, you feel it in your soul.
That's so crazy how animals can project sound like that. That's crazy.
It is
Super cool. Super cool though. I love it.
So, we chatted about that. You grew up trapping, fishing, deer hunting, turkey hunting. What was your draw to waterfowl hunting? Like, why have you stuck with that above everything else? What's been so attractive to it?
Well, I can remember when we would get magazines from Cabela's and Bass Pro, and I would just go through and I would circle all the pretty colors of acrylic calls and stuff like that. And like, I'd be like 12 and actually no, like more like 8 or 9, because it was before I moved to Wisconsin. It was back when we lived in Ohio. And I would circle them and I'd be like, I want this one and this one and this one and this one. And I'd just, go through the whole thing. But I think that the day that it solidified, and I went on goose hunts with my dad too before this, but I was, I think 14 or 15. And my dad had bought me a little 100cc dirt bike, little Honda Red dirt bike. One day, riding on the school bus, I saw just down from my house that I grew up in, about 100 to 200 ducks just piling in the early morning. Cause like when I got on the bus, it was just getting light outside, and they were piling into this farm pond just down the road from me. So I went over there and I asked the farmer if I could hunt the pond. And he was a little hesitant at first because of probably how young I was. I was like 14, 15. So he was probably really hesitant, but after a while, he's like, yeah, that's fine. And my dad had bought me 12 field mallard decoys. So that Saturday, it was duck opener, and I bought my license and all that stuff. And I put my gun across my handlebars of my dirt bike, had my blind bag wrapped on my one shoulder, and then I had the decoy bag on my other, and I used my phone, and I was holding my phone on my other side of my handlebar, and I putted along and went all the way over to that. It's about a mile away with my dirt bike. And I set up these field decoys on the edge of this pond. It was terrible. They were coming there. I didn't need any decoys, but I was a young kid, didn't know any better. And they started piling in there, man. And it was like nothing I've ever seen before. And I shot a whole 25 box of shells to shoot my 6 ducks. And I shot some wood ducks and a couple mallards. And from that day forward, man, like, it just has eaten me up.
That's awesome. That's so good. Yeah, I could just picture you cruising down there on your motorbike with the rifle the shotgun over the handlebars. That's funny as you'd get the SWAT team sent after you down here for doing that. But that's so good. I've never really got the waterfowl hunting bug. Here we need to do a waterfowl test and get our license, and we've actually got seasons for ducks because they're a native animal, but it overlaps with our deer rut. So like duck season starts pretty much late, our pre-season deer rut. So it's just like, shooting 5-6 ducks compared to shooting a couple of deer.
No, it's same thing goes on here. Deer hunting and waterfowl hunting overlap, and you get deer hunting is way more popular than waterfowl hunting, but the guys that do waterfowl hunt, man, they go into it. They get into it.
Yeah, I know quite a few guys over there that I chat to regular that are just absolutely waterfowl nuts. Guys down in Cali and is North Dakota one of them? I think he's in North Dakota, but they're just absolute waterfowl mad. And they're just they're absolutely crazy. And when it comes to calls and everything, they're constantly trying new things and making calls, and yeah, it just blows my mind how into it they get.
Yeah, North Dakota is a fantastic place. I think every state for waterfowl has like a hidden gem. Some are talked about more than others, but just about every state I've went to, I've seen a large number of birds, like 10,000, so like I think every state has gems. So, but some are, like you said, North Dakota and Southern Cal are really talked about a lot.
Nah, that's awesome. And then what about geese hunting? How'd you get into hunting geese? And yourself, you said that you did it with your old man when you were younger, but what made you jump to it?
So because shortly after that, and then I was just like always on the river, that, like I talked about earlier, that Mississippi zone. We lived right next to it. My buddy had a house right on the Mississippi River, and we would always be on the river hunting ducks and shooting geese if they came in, but it was mostly ducks. And then I started, every once in a while, we would get a field of geese and stuff. And it's expensive to like get the nice boat and do all that stuff. But I mean, I just like being able to walk in the field, and I guess you could look at it as laziness, but I also found that I would lose less birds when we hunted in a field rather than hunting in the marsh, because like if that bird goes out in the middle of the channel, it's gone. Like you're not getting it unless you got a dog and a boat, or you can get back to your boat really fast. So I don't know. I just prefer the field, I guess, because it's a little bit easier. You can walk around. You don't have to wear waders. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the most beautiful hunting geese and ducks, like you can hunt them in the timber, you can hunt them in the water, and they just finish a different way, and they work a little bit of a different way. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other. It's just I kind of preferred the field hunting. So around us, that was mostly geese. And so, during end of high school, beginning of college, that's what I mostly did was field hunt geese. And then I started guiding, and then, man, it just kind of took off from there. And I found contest calling. So, that's really near and dear to my heart is contest calling. I love it. I travel around everywhere to go to contests, and I help organize like 3 contests. So I just love that side of it too.
That's awesome. What are the contests involved? What goes on there? So duck and goose calling contest is usually 3 rounds, and you have your duck and your goose, but of that you have a couple different categories you can do. You can do in duck, you can do a live duck, which is a 60-second routine, and it's just your rendition of what ducks sound like on the water, like a live style. There's no really set scoring thing. And then you have meat duck. Meat duck is a set routine that you got to try to do. Now, everybody's meat routine is a little bit different, but it's genuinely the same thing. You got ducks way off in the distance. You hail at them. Not really hail. You give them a few good licks of ducks. You come down into a feed sequence. They're about to finish. Something happens. They see the dog. They see a pop bottle, or the dog jumps out of the blind or something like that. They flare. You get back on them to try to convince them to come back around. You get them to come back around. You start your feed sequence, and then you end. That's a 90-second routine. Now, that is probably the most realistic. The live is realistic, but for hunting situation, the meat is the most realistic. The street duck, that's like an IPA beer or a very, very strong cigar. Like, it's an acquired taste. You do not do the street duck stuff out hunting. The street duck is using the call that you have to its maximum capabilities and still holding on to it, because you are hailing. That's the one where you see them go bah, 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 like long 30-note hails that you would never do that hunting.
but I will never take the credit away from what these guys are doing. It is far harder than the live and the meat. It is so much more technical. And if a guy can do a really good street routine, he can definitely do a good meat routine and a good live routine. It's just, you're not going to hear that in that style of routine. So I give all the credit to the street duck callers, because it is a very hard and technical thing to do. On the goose side of things, you have live goose and open goose. And the live goose is just like the live duck, 60 seconds or rendition. The open goose is kind of like the street duck, except what you do in there, in some circumstances, you will do out in the field, but not all the time, not necessarily. There's really no meat goose. The open is like you're doing all the notes that you normally would do in the field. It's just a lot of them. I don't know if you've ever watched a goose calling contest before, or a duck calling contest.
I haven't, but I'm going to.
After this podcast, I'll send you some links to like Robbie Iverson and John Walls and Seth Fields and Corey Nickham. Those are the really big name. There's a lot of other great duck and goose callers too, but those are kind of the bigger, well-known ones.
What's the kind of like the competition? Like, what are you winning? And, how many people, like how many contestants are entering?
So at Worlds, there was like 30 people, and then like 20 people in those contests. But if you get anywhere from 10 to 15, you're doing pretty good. It's died down a lot since like the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. But I think that's because, as hunters, I feel like we genuinely try not to move along with the technology. So like it never really got social media coverage like how everything else gets. You know how you see reels of like Cristiano Ronaldo and like, all the football players and NASCAR and all that stuff. It's always like social media. Contest calling never did that. Never went along with the times. I'm trying to do that, and I feel like with my goose call company, like I'm seeing a lot of people reach out. I don't know what normally people get for reach out, but like I've helped probably 30 new people in the last month. And if 30 new kids go up to a contest, that's huge. And so I constantly posting reels of people up on stage contest calling and stuff. We run a lot of our ads with that contest calling stuff. What was the question you asked? You asked how many people are in it, and then like
what do you win doing it?
Oh, what do you win? Okay, so an open contest, like a professional style, average is about $1,000 in a trophy. So it's decent. Back in the day, I've heard of stuff being like $2,500, $5,000. They just had the World Cut Down contest, and I think that was like $10,000 in a boat.
Yeah, wow, that's insane.
Yeah, so it was like a pretty big deal. Worlds was like $5,000 for the goose, and then I think it's $10,000 for the street duck. So it's it can pay you pretty good.
Yeah, at least pay for a new shotgun and a boat and some ammo.
Right, yeah.
So you mentioned that you make calls as well now. So how did you get into that, and what's that involve?
Yeah, so I looked at my buddy and I was like, it was always a dream of mine to like make duck and goose calls, but the buddy that taught me how to goose call and stuff like that and how to put together a contest routine, his name's Tim Steele, and we were sitting in his garage and I was like, dude, what if we made calls? He's like, yeah, that'd be cool. And it was like, we were using some calls and we were just like, man, I think we could make it better, And so I taught myself CAD, like CNC programming software and designing and stuff like that. And made a duck and goose call parts, and they were just absolutely terrible. And but we learned. We're like, oh, okay, so if you do this and this will happen. So then we made more, and then we made more, and we got to where we made about 1,088 different goose call combinations to come up with the one that we currently sell right now. And we taught ourselves how to make the internal parts. The guts is what they're called, and the reeds. So taught myself how to do that, did all that. And just that's how we got started with that.
That's sweet. Are the calls like a resin call or a wooden call? Like, what's the outside? What are you making the outsides out of?
So we turn them out of acrylic. It's a glass plastic kind of, it's not glass, but it's brittle like glass, but it's considered a plastic. And then we cold cast is what it's called, our guts. So we basically make them homemade and make them here at the house, and then put them together here.
How many different styles of calls do you make and sell? Just one?
Just one. Yep, just one right now, but we are going to release some new things this summer and then some new things this fall. We have a lot of, and like I said, I just quit my full-time job, so I have a lot more time now to delegate towards the company and grow it and get it bigger and do more things. Yeah.
That's awesome. Like I said, we do have waterfowl stuff here. Last year I went to the duck hunters dinner down here. They had, they were raising money for nesting boxes, and, there's a lot of conservation-based stuff that comes out of the duck hunters down here. They did like a little, play around with calls for a little competition, but nothing like you guys have over there. It's interesting to see how the guys down here get into calling ducks and get into it all. It's a completely different ball game, but it sounds very similar to what you guys do over there. When something that popped into my head before, when you're chasing geese, are you in lay down blinds, or what type of blind are you hunting out of?
Yeah, typically we're in lay down blind, or you have two different styles of like upright blinds. You got A-frames, at least mobile ones. You got A-frames, and then you got panels. So the A-frame is like a square box with a 45-degree angle coming up kind of over top of you, and you can move it around. The panel blinds are just one side. It's a panel, and it's got a 45, and you can lead it up, and usually you get two, so you can kind of do the same thing you would with an A-frame. But I lease some properties, and we built fully permanent wooden blinds. I ripped down like 40 decks off people's houses with their like cedar and treated wood, and we made these big box blinds, and they can hunt 15 guys at a time, and they're really nice. We use heaters in the wintertime when it's snowing and stuff, and that's awesome. We cook in there sometimes.
That's badass. That's so cool. What you said you were guiding, what's like the clientele for that? Is it reasonably busy, or?
It can be. A lot more people that don't want to spend the time going out and scouting, or can't get on permission or stuff like that. So they'll pay us to take them out, stuff like that. That's kind of mostly what it is.
And I'm assuming you're running dogs as well. What breeds of dogs would you be running?
I don't run in a dog, just because, like I said, it's field hunting, so I can walk out there and pick them up. It would be a black lab or some sort of Labrador. I know other guys use some other different kind of breeds, but that's like the traditional thing. But for me, like if I was going to have a dog, I can't call the shot, watch the birds, focus on the dog and all that stuff. So that's why I don't have one, because it's kind of like having a dog requires your full attention, in my opinion, if you're going to do it right. You see a lot of people bring their dog and then they jump and they bark, and then they break and they run out after the geese when you haven't called the shot yet and stuff like that. And that I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, it's a completely different ball game. I've hunted deer behind a dog, chasing sambar in Victoria a couple times, and it's completely different ball game to just over here. We spot and stalk. That's our main way of chasing deer down here. I think you guys call it still hunting. That's what we call spot and stalk over here. Pretty much everything's still hunting. Tree stands and ground blinds are very, very rare for people to use. I think it's more of a cost thing. Getting them over from the States to Australia, you're looking at double, if not triple, the cost of what you guys pay. So, a tree stand that you guys might pay $120 for, we're looking at $600-700 here.
Right, the freight, the shipping.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just it's funny, like the different parallels. From what I've seen, a lot of our waterfowl guys, they're running like GSPs, German short-haired pointers, or German wide-haired pointers. That seems to be the main breeds that I've seen. But they're usually multi-purpose dogs. Like they're using them for duck and quail, small game.
Gotcha.
But I do want to get out there one day and do it. I've been saying for the last couple of years, yep, this is the year I'll get my waterfowl permit, my WIT, and then every year stuff comes up and it just gets busy.
Yeah. I'll probably say that about deer hunting here too with the bow. I'll probably think I'm gonna go do it. Nah, I'm not gonna do it.
So, have you gotten many birds mounted? Are you getting like birds mounted, or are you collecting bands? Like, do you have some type of trophy? I hate using that word, but it's the best way to describe it. Are you keeping stuff like that, or are you just mainly for meat?
Yeah, I don't have any birds mounted. It's more so like I'm very picky, and like if I get a bird done, like I probably need to get it done from like whoever won the world title for mounting, because like those will only be the ones that satisfy me, because but those are like $2,000 to get so it's just like, I just like snapping a picture, and I do a scrapbook. So like, that's kind of like what I do. Plus it's just like another thing that for me, like I gotta take care of and stuff like that. Now, if I shoot something crazy, like an emperor goose or, a king eider, I'm going to get that mounted, because that's like a once in a lifetime kind of deal. But, hunting mallards and hunting geese, like they're all over. So it's like not really, like where your bucks, those score something, right? So like, they score big. So it's like, it's a lot different, because like, I shoot a lot of geese and I shoot a lot of ducks. So it's like not really, to me, like a lot of mallards, not really something that I'm going to go after for a mount. But I eat them all, I eat them all.
What's your favorite thing to cook out of goose or ducks?
Well, so what we normally do is we split it half or not half, 70-30 with some beef, and maybe some pork butt, and we'll make sausage, and then we'll spice it, season it, and store it, and then we can do breakfast sausage, or we can do spaghetti or something like that. But we also do this. My wife has got a crock pot recipe, man, that if you kill them fresh and you do it the day of, it is amazing. Like, it's like a stew with carrots and potatoes and onions and stuff, and you just let it sit all day, 8 hours, cook it on slow, and it's like super tender. You would never know it's goose, because a lot of people say it's like got this really gamey taste, and it does. But when you cook it like that, like hot fresh, it's so good, so good.
That's awesome. What about bands? Like, being from Australia, we see like a lot of the American accounts, they're constantly showing, everyone's chasing banded ducks and banded geese. You got yourself a few banded birds?
I have one. I've seen like 20 die, but how I do it, I always because we're normally hunting in a group, right? And so when we shoot into them, and you don't really know who shot what bird. So when we bring it back, we're like, all right, we'll draw for it. So I've been a part of like 19 drawings, 20 drawings, and I've only gotten one, which is not a big deal. But I think I now that I own this company, will be band hunting a lot more, because I'll film geese coming in and landing because people like to see that more. And you don't educate them as much. And then I'll just shoot the ones that are banded. But in the area that I'm in, they don't band a lot. So I don't see very many bands. But I also, like I was telling you, I like the harder situation. So I think getting a bird to land in your decoys rather than getting within 60 yards of you is a whole lot harder. So that's the reason why I like band hunting. Now, a lot of people will say that's not what it's about. And I was like, I can agree with you. It's about being out there, enjoying what God created for us, and, just watching the sunrise, sharing a cup of coffee with someone, having a good time watching the birds, that's what it's about. And I agree. In my industry, a lot of people think the more bands you have, the better the hunter you are. And I know a lot of guys that aren't on social media that don't have a lot of bands, but they stack geese up and they are great hunters. But they're not on social media and they don't have a lot of bands, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. But I also do know a lot of guys that have tons of bands and they're fantastic hunters. So it's just it helps with business too, people seeing all the bands too. So that's another reason why I want to do it. But yeah, band hunting is like shooting a big old deer, you get one of those and that's oh snap.
That's awesome. The information that they get from them as well, because when you shoot a banded duck, you've got contact numbers that you ring up, and they tell you when the duck or goose was banded and approximate age. And
Yep. They when they band them, they sex them and they tell you if it's male or female. And usually, a lot of the bands here are when they're molting and they're babies, so they can't fly. So in the summertime, they'll corral them in this thing and they'll band 20, 30, sometimes a couple hundred at a time. And they'll put bands on them and do all that, take age of them, and then you report it back so then you get to see their banding location and you get to see where they were harvested.
That's pretty cool data you get from them. That makes the band more exciting, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. Some people, some dude just sent me a picture of a band the bird was from 1992. It was older than I was.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. And that was killed just a little bit ago. It was 30 something years old. It's insane. I think the oldest Canada goose is 38 or something like that, recorded banding or something like that. It was wild.
That's absolutely nuts. What would be your top 5 dream animals anywhere in the world, money not being an issue? Where would you go? What would you hunt?
I would say I'm gonna put emperor goose. I'm gonna put king eider up in Alaska. There'll be 2 of them. And then I really want a red stag, an elk, and I think a bighorn sheep would be pretty cool. I think think that would be my top 5. I think an emperor goose, a king eider, a red stag, an elk, and a bighorn sheep.
I've just had to look up what a king eider was. I had no clue what they were. That's a interesting looking bird. They're crazy looking.
Yeah, they stay really high north. They migrate, but they stay up north along Alaska.
Yeah, they're real pretty, like very colorful in the face, and it's like 3 shades of bluey green and yellow and black and real red pinky beak. They're cool.
Yeah, you got to go up to Alaska to get those. St. Paul, or there's another island, I can't remember what it's called, St. Paul or Victoria Island or something like that. But yeah, that would probably be my top 5. Like, I really want to get an elk, I really want to get a red stag, and a bighorn sheep would probably be my next thing.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, red stag, you'll be able to tick off a few different critters if you ever make it down to New Zealand for a red stag, especially if you're tied up with duck season and everything else. The paradise ducks they have down there are freaking gorgeous. They're such a pretty duck. So check them out. We have some cool different species here. We have a wood duck, nothing like your guys' wood duck. We've got a black duck, which is... It looks like a duck. It's a duck size, but it's more closely related to geese. It is a goose. It's not actually a duck, but it is referred to as a duck. We've got mountain ducks, which are a really big, colourful duck that live in pairs. They're really cool as well. And then we've got stuff like teal and shovelhead and a bunch of other different species. So.
Oh, okay.
But duck hunting here is very, very frowned upon. We have in Victoria, the state net bordering mine, there's an actual organisation that goes out every duck season just to harass duck hunters. So they actually go out into the wetlands, they try and scare birds. If you shoot a bird and it's still wounded, they'll try and get it before you can, and they'll try and either try and get it medical attention, or they chuck them in a freezer, and then the lead up to duck season, they get all the ducks they collected the previous year out of the freezer and stick them all out on the steps of Parliament House and protest against duck hunting.
We've hunted for thousands of years. Like, that's... I hope every single one of them people are vegetarians.
Majority of them would be. They're a group called Coalition Against Duck Hunting, but they've been doing it for years, 40, 50 years, going out there, and their numbers get out there and they scare ducks away. They harass hunters. We don't actually have any hunter harassment laws here, so there's nothing stopping them from going out there, to the point that you're only supposed to be out in these wetlands if you've got a duck license. They actually go out and get their duck license, their waterfowl license, to be out there legally to stop getting arrested. And
wouldn't you say that as a hunter, you probably know more about the animals than a lot of these people do?
Yeah, yep. There's a good chance we know about how they live, they breed, they just everything. They live, what they eat, where they go for shade, cover, everything.
Because I guarantee, because the same kind of people here, I could ask them, what way does a duck or goose land? Like, what's the significance of wind direction to a duck or a goose? And I guarantee you, I know almost every waterfowl hunter will say the correct answer. But the people that care about them don't even know their characteristics and like their actions and like what they do. And I just don't get that. I just
Yeah, it's how Stephen Ranella puts it. They care more about the individual animal itself than the collective and the idea of the animal.
right. Well, and one of your
All right,
yeah, like
did I get that the wrong way? I might have got that the wrong way. Either or.
yeah, like no, don't get me wrong. Like I understand that taking a life is no small thing. Like I agree with them. Like it's sad, and you know, like you're taking something's life, and that's not a small deal. And I don't think any hunter, any guy that is like-minded like you or I should ever take that lightly. So I get where they're coming from in that sense of like it's bad to kill and stuff like that. But if you were to remove humans off of the face of this planet, you're still going to get crocodiles that eat deer. And it's hard to watch. Like it's sad, but it's nature. It's how things go down. And yes, we are very intelligent animals. Like not a lot of things stand a chance really against us, but that's why we have our rules and our regulations, and we limit the amount of stuff that we can do. But like hunting is something that we've always done. I'm sure that their ancestors did it too. No, I think what gets them all riled up and gets a bad rep is the people that hunt that are very disrespectful to animals. And I think that's where like we gotta get that stuff to stop too, because like when I'm in an area or in a conversation, I want someone to like respect, be able, like both sides to be able to respect like what I'm doing. And it's a hard line. It's a fine line, and it's really hard to do. And at the end of the day, you'll never satisfy everybody. But I would like to open the minds of other people, and also change the mind of people that do hunt about the respect thing for the animal. Like, man, I've seen some crazy videos that are just not it. It's not what you want to do.
Jumping from that to a very similar talking point is, how do you see the public views on hunting and hunters?
Yeah, I think there's very few people that, well, no. I think that there's a very small amount of people that hunt. And I think there's a very small amount of people that hate hunting. And I think there's a large majority of people that just don't think about it. And like I said, the people that hate hunting care more about the act of killing something rather than the animal itself. They just hate the idea of killing something. Like I said, that is a very big deal. Like, you're taking the life of another thing, another, animal. And we as humans are capable of understanding that. But other animals, other predators like alligators, lions, and cougars, and cats and stuff, foxes, they can't. That's their way of living. That's how they survive. And so I think that the people that hate hunting see the people that disrespect hunting or disrespect animals when they're hunting, and that's the fighting point. And I think both are wrong, and they need to be more cognizant about what's actually going on.
And how would you change the public views on hunting and hunters?
By teaching people how to properly think about what they're doing when they harvest. Because I think you will never change someone's mind by screaming and hollering at them or disagreeing with them. It's hard enough to change your own mind. It's hard enough to discipline yourself. How do you think you're going to discipline someone else's mind? Like, you need to be the leading example, and you have to not allow them to have a reason. There are going to be some people that it's not going to click for you. Like the people that do not like hunting, some of those people are just going to be the way that they're going to be, and you can't really change that. But I think there's a majority of them that have once in their life saw something that they absolutely did not like, a wounded animal or something, or a guy shooting an animal and just laughing and saying disrespectful things to the animal. That puts a bad taste in people's mouth. I saw this post recently of someone sitting down alongside their deer that they harvested, and they were petting it, and they said the first person to ever lay their hands on it, and they were thanking the Lord. And I was like, that's it. That's what you want to do. You want to take a moment. Now, granted, you could say he was taking a video to post on social media to get attention and stuff like that, and that may be true. But if people were to practice that, sitting down next to the animal that you harvest, especially a big deer, it's a big animal. It's got a lot of meat to feed people and stuff, and just paying your respects. I love Indian, Native American, Indian community for this, because they used everything. They used the bones, they used the intestines, they used the brain, the skulls, all of it. And I that's one thing I admire about them is they used everything. They didn't let anything go to waste, and they respected the animal to the highest degree. And I think us Americans should start kind of going leaning that way. A lot of respect towards it, whether it be a duck or a goose or a deer or a bear or a sheep or something. That's my take.
No, that's awesome. That's an awesome take. Finally, what is hunting to you?
Oh, it's everything, man. If you take it away from me, man, I'm nothing. I'm not it. I don't do anything else. I don't look forward to anything else other than hunting and fishing.
Nah, man, I 100% agree with you there. Like I said, I told you the issues we're going through here in Australia at the moment with firearm ownership and bow hunting bans and, all these other sorts of things. And it's hunting is my one thing. So, no, I get that with every inch of my soul.
Yeah, it's a big deal to some people, and and people that aren't like that, that's okay too. Everybody's got their interests, and who am I to tell them? As long as you're not hurting anyone, who am I to tell you what to do? If you like sports, dude, go after it. That's awesome. I like hunting.
Nah, 100% agree, man. 100% agree. So, if people have enjoyed what they've heard on this episode, where can they find you on Facebook, Instagram? Where can they hit you up? See what you're doing. If they love waterfowl hunting, where can they get one of your calls?
So yeah, we're on most of it. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Quillcreek World Championship calls. And if you just type in Quillcreek World Championship calls on your internet browser, we should be one of the first ones that pops up. Yeah, and we post a lot. We post a lot. So there's plenty of content for you to watch if you like waterfowl hunting. And if anybody has any interest in the contest calling, it's very near and dear to my heart. And it's a great way to, if you want to get a job in the outdoor industry, it's a great way to get into it because it shows that you have dedication and you can do something for a long period of time. And that's kind of what job like companies are looking for, is someone with a good work ethic. Because if it don't let anyone kid you, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of practice to get good on a duck or a goose call, just like anything else, just like, football. I mean, anything. It takes a large amount of time to get good at it.
No, that's awesome. I've really enjoyed our chat tonight. Thanks for reaching out and teeing up a chat. I've really enjoyed it. I'm sure it won't be our last chat. And we'll have to try and get you across the ditch and get you hunting down here or in New Zealand, man.
Oh, dude, Zach, I would love that. Let's keep chatting, stay in touch, and I would absolutely love that.
100%, man, 100%. Well, thank you very much, mate, and have a good day.
You as well, Zach.
Easy, mate. Catch ya. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Hunting Connection Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our discussions and gained valuable insights into the world of hunting, fishing, and the outdoors. To stay connected with us and never miss out on an update, please be sure to follow us on social media, all at Hunting Connection Podcast. We appreciate your support and would love for you to share the podcast with your friends and family. Don't forget to tag us in your hunting photos on social media and let us know about your experiences. Your feedback is invaluable to us, so please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Together, we continue growing and delivering more captivating episodes for all hunting enthusiasts. Stay connected, stay informed, and keep pursuing your passion for the hunt. Until next time, happy hunting.